Hi, my name is James Lee. I'm 21 and I'm here with the Generational Alliance by way of Advocates for Youth and the Texas Freedom Network. So I've been organizing in Texas since about the time I was 16. And the constant thing I hear from other youth in Texas is, we're in Texas. This is the South, and they're not paying attention to us. So a lot of the youth in Texas, they give up a lot of the time. They're saying, what's the point, And my good friend, she says that, there are great pockets of progress in Texas, and I think that's the truth, and I think that one day Texas could be blue again. But I was wondering if you could send a message back to other kids in the South who are also organizing, or people who are in the South who are kind of giving up hope. What would you tell these people?
Well, the answer is yes. Actually, when I was DNC chair, I figured Texas is going to be red in 2012. I don't think that's going to happen, but Texas is not. Blue in 2012. Texas is not a particularly red state, and the hate wing of the Republican Party has so demonized the Republicans in terms of the way that people with immigrant backgrounds, particularly Latinos, see them, that Texas and New Mexico, which we're going to win this year, and Colorado, which we're going to win in Nevada, and South Carolina, and Michigan. There's a lot of stuff going on in the South that we ought not to forget. There are fascinating things going on in Alabama, for example, just to talk about immigration again. They learned a hard lesson. Arguably one of the most conservative states in the country, when they passed their immigration bill, tons of kids and tons of workers left the state and left the school system. So they had to come back, not just because there was a federal court order, they realized that they couldn't make their state work without the efforts of hard-working immigrants. Both legal and undocumented. So people do respond to mass action. This is why I'm so glad that I was the very early supporter of Keith Ellison for Congress, because what he just said up here was well worth all the work we put into his first campaign. I might have the first campaign to successfully elected a Muslim to the United States Congress, which I'm incredibly proud of. We then had the courage to do something I would never have done, which is go on Fox News and explain to that lovely audience why it was important to be a devout Muslim. So, which was great for their education. So I probably should be doing more of what he's doing, which is going to places that aren't so welcoming and explaining why we're right, because we are right. The fundamental, we did this really interesting polling in the DNC, which showed that most people agree with what the Democratic issues were. They really do. Even supposedly people who are considered, you remember the Tea Party outcry in 2009? Keep the government's hands off my Medicare. People like Medicare. Even Tea Party people like Medicare. So I have a lot of hope for the South. I have a lot of hope for Texas. I have a lot of hope for Texas in the very short term. Texas is on the cusp of becoming a much bluer state than it shows in the electorate, and I think it will. Because you know what? 22% of the kids in Texas have no health insurance. I don't think Texans are proud of that. They'd like a governor who's willing to do something about it.
I'm afraid